Okay, I told the guys, because there was a legal process of us getting what they call settlement from Sanctuary, which had still Stratovarius under contract. And they didn't want to pay that huge amount of money for Stratovarius. So they used all the tricks in the book not to be able to, not that they have to pay. So I waited like 2 years for the lawyers to settle this situation, which was really simple actually legally. So I waited 7 months, and after that I said I cannot anymore. I have a new band, so I'm going public with this. And that's when I wrote the first statement about this thing. And it resulted to chain of events that was really, 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 I think, nasty. And I just couldn't believe what was happening, because my statements were all the time very polite. Of course, then when I saw that I'm being called as a greedy, narcissistic Faust, I was like, what is going on? I mean, that's not at all why I'm doing this. My conscience is totally clear in this. I'm leaving the band, or stopping the band, however you want to call it, because I have clear reasons and rational reasons for this. It's nothing to do with greed. Everybody who can think a little bit can understand that if I really would be greedy, I would stay in the band even though I feel so bad about the band and everything about it. I would make much more money in Stratovarius faking to play something I love with the people I feel this tension coming from in a band that I think doesn't work. So that's greediness, that's Faust. But when you start something new, that is not greedy. Because I chose to stop the band and create totally new band with totally unknown musicians from the beginning with very, very little money, And therefore the whole accusation of narcissistic Faust was always like a slap in the face to me after all the years, because I just don't understand it. So then I was back and forth, different statements, and I thought I heard from somebody, I think it was Jens, somebody told me that they're going to continue as Stratovarius, which would never really, that was a possibility I never even thought, which shows how naive I am sometimes. But I really thought, there's no way, how could they continue without me? It's like totally my band, my concept, 95% my songs, my music, my ideology, 23 years in the band. It's like, there was a journalist actually who said this to me, that it's like, he doesn't understand. It's like if Tuomas Holopainen of Nightwish leaves the band, they get a new young keyboard player. Would it be Nightwish? Or if Eddie Van Halen would leave Van Halen, would it be Van Halen anymore? And that's pretty much the same with this situation, how I feel about it, although of course I don't consider to be an Eddie Van Halen or anything like that, or not like Tuomas, but the principle is the same. And therefore I thought, okay, then you have it all, because I really don't want to have anything to do with this kind of thing. To me this is just totally wrong. To me this is totally evil. So I gave them the rights to the name. I gave them the rights to the royalties of the back catalogue, which is a substantial amount of money each year. And not forgetting the fact that when I came in public announcing there is no Stratovaris and I have a new band, of course we lost the legal case, but I knew that. And I also knew that I have to pay 1/5 of the legal costs. On top that we didn't get something like the settlement they were, since everybody is talking about the money and figures from the Stratovaris side, in their statements are all the what I consider confidential information, business information about my deals and stuff like that. Whether they are not true or not, I'm not willing to comment, because those are business things and nothing to do with fans. But since we're talking about this, okay, let's get it out on the table and let's get it over with. The lawyer of Stratovaris negotiated a settlement that was 100,000 euros plus the rights of the back catalogue. When I came in public with my announcement, we lost that 100,000 euros, of course, plus the back catalogue, which will return to them. I don't know when. I heard they had some new settlement going on. I don't really care about this, but these are the figures, and the legal costs are like 30,000 euros, which is nothing. You know, it's peanuts in rock and roll. And to complain about that, to complain about the 100,000 euros, to realize the fact that I told to everyone before we started this legal fight, let's just leave, you know, like Gamma Ray did. Because Gamma Ray left Sanctuary, they said, we don't want any money, just let us go, you know. They left, they went to SPV, we stayed and chose to fight. And all this time I had very few information about what's going on, because everything was done by the management and Jens, basically. So I was really in the shade. I tried to get info, I didn't get any info. And slowly but surely I started feeling really weird vibes from everyone. I was watching our website, I was watching our merchandise shop, you know, which didn't have items to sell, people complaining to me. And I ultimately was responsible for Stratovaris, you know. Also legally, because I had contracts with every musician individually, so I was the one who was responsible. And it was just fights and fights and fights the whole 2008 about stuff like what kind of shirts we should print, and if we should print 100 shirts, whatever the, you know, motive. And it was like, I was like, man, I have no time for this, you know, this is crazy, you know, what's happening? And it really was just trivial. And I think it was just, now in retrospect, I think it was just somehow to an attempt to piss me off, you know, which of course worked, because I really, I'm sensitive to stuff like that. And I just had enough, you know. So I left. Yeah. Then to close the Stratovaris chapter, the guys announced that they are continuing as Stratovaris with a new album, with a new guitar player, and I was like, I just couldn't believe that they took that route, because, of course, I mean, I was thinking there cannot be Stratovaris without Timo Tolkki, Jörg Michael, Jens Johansson, and me. Those four guys. Anybody you replace, it is not Stratovaris. It is something else. And I